No, I don't. I mean, my article says that he should, and that it's the only way for him to regain any chance of support from the young people who basically powered his election in 2008. But he won't, because he's basically owned by the financial industry, and they certainly are not going to allow him to do that. Yeah, I think that, the more there's a dynamic to this which we've seen before in the anti-war movement in the 70s and in the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, that the more successful a movement is, a popular movement at moving towards achieving its goals, the more violent the reaction will be. And that's not just in the United States. It's true everywhere, that the entrenched powers, when they feel threatened, then turn to increasing violence against those who are seeking the change. So I would expect that if more people keep turning out for these protests, and if the public sentiment continues to grow in favor of the movement, that the government response will be increasingly violent. Yeah, well, I think it's an eye-opener for people. It was an eye-opener when the National Guard gunned down 4 students in 1970 during the anti-war protests, and it turned people's stomachs, and it really was, I think, a major turning point in support for the war. And I think the same thing, unfortunately, will probably have to happen here, that, these are mostly white kids in the occupations, and the police are behaving, like I said, like Gestapo, and they're using techniques that can kill. I mean, when you fire point blank at somebody with a rubber bullet, it can actually penetrate and kill if it hits the right part of the body. And, one of these days they're going to do something. They almost killed Scott Olson, the veteran who got hit by a flying tear gas canister. But at some point they're going to kill, some teenage girl or something, and that's going to turn the tide, and people will then say, what is this nation becoming? And that, unfortunately, is what it takes, is the stomach-turning abuse of power by the establishment.